Welcome to a very special Marvel movie talk right here on Geekscape, where we will be talking about the return of Frank Castle and the return of some other friends on the Disney Plus one-off, the special presentation, Punisher, One Last Kill. And if I had one last kill, nobody on this panel would be the one that I would be looking to do that to. But the first person I would ask, who should I be killing? I would ask El Sassy Pants herself, our friend Katie Hampton, because you would have great suggestions.
That was a wild setup. I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't really sure what I was walking into there. If I was gonna get like a little red dot on my head or what. Yeah. I don't know off the top of my head right now who it is that you should have the one last kill for, but I know which Marvel special we should give one kill for.
Well, listen. I'm going to see if I can help you choose someone. And if you see anyone on the screen that should be rubbed out, just nod your head like Jeannie from I Dream of Jeannie.
Okay, first of all, Brody, the Punisher, love it, dude.
just wait till he starts making the pun-isher jokes.
So how much of a punishment was this for everyone?
No? Well, I would like to start with the positive, which there was an absolutely beautiful tracking shot of Frank walking down the streets of New York. In the background, we see how crazy it is. Thanks, Mom Donnie. And we look around and we just see and hear all of it. We also hear, it's a joke. It's thanks Fisk. We all know. We know who the mayor was.
How am I doing? How am I doing?
No, yeah, well,
not Ed Koch.
It looked like Ed Koch's New York. But anyway, so listen, no one will be able to convince me that there wasn't a tremendous tracking shot while he walks down the streets, and we hear the craziness all around him, but we also hear some of the craziness in his head. That is the most Punisher moment of Punisher One Last Kill, and I refuse to let anyone take that away from me. Unless our friend Nate says, like, no, that was a lazy tracking shot and the audio was really lousy, which is one of the complaints about the show as a whole. But good to see you, Nate.
Yeah, I'm here.
You sure are.
I'm really glad you're here because I couldn't be here alone, just waiting for your opinion.
There's a reason why I said I wanted to start with something positive. I want to ask a really important question, and I know it does tie in to some of the artwork that our friend Eric Connor gave us. My first question is, and I will open it to the floor, any one of you who wants to answer, what in the hell did Tony Danza do to Angela that pissed her off this much? Because she is angry and she's got quite the chip on her shoulder. What's that? And I, for one, think Tony owes her an apology. And anybody wants to jump in on that? Pun-isher?
She's got a new show now. It's called Who's the Mob Boss? Hello.
I like the hello. And actually, interestingly enough, here's the
I got the poster for that already.
The poster
oh man.
And
he's in a pod.
I would love to have Angela, Judith Light herself, actually sign this for us. I did not recognize her at first. It took a moment. It's been a minute since the Who's the Boss finale. You know, the conceit of why she shows up and what she's doing isn't a bad story point.
It's just weird that we told that like 10 minutes in.
Unless you go ahead and drop it in the final 20 minutes of the show. That's where it's like, wait a minute, why isn't the whole show? Why doesn't it start there? You know? But anyway, I had my positive. I had my Who's the Boss joke. Honestly,
well, I do have a lesson from this. Oh, we lost at last.
Go ahead, Eric. Go ahead.
Thank God. That was the one last.
You know what? No. I could take myself off as a joke, but EC, you better watch it.
I'm sorry. I didn't expect the Punisher to bleed into you so thoroughly. I think there was a lesson about when killing, and this was I was taking notes. When killing an entire crime boss family, make sure you kill the matriarch. That was my lesson learned. That was my take home. Because then none of this happens. If he maybe he was running low on bullets. I don't know. He was on a budget. But in the end of it all, the lesson, there's 2 lessons. I'll save the other lesson for the end. But kill old women just because. Thank you.
Oh my God.
All right, so you're flying in the face of one of our most recent episodes. We did lean on the fact that you could hit the like button, but not women. You don't hear that part. You just feel like you should hit everything, Eric.
Not about me. Not about me.
Oh.
This is what Frank
You said for
Castle
Frank.
It's what Frank Castle is teaching me, and my children haven't watched it yet, but the lesson they'll learn, I guess.
Are your
is
children
helpful.
ever going to watch it? Because mine aren't. Mine are not going to watch this.
I think I might cancel Disney
Good.
Plus. Nah, at some point, maybe, but not today.
Oh,
All right. So we're dancing around it. We're talking lightly. And listen, here's the key. We're having fun.
The
Nate,
key
Nate,
that
should
he
we-
put.
Yeah, where was that key? Nate, should we stop having fun?
No, having fun is good. Having fun is fine. Just expect only fun and nothing. No substance or reasoning or any type of like character development.
Story.
As long as you don't expect that, you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Well,
Punisher : only fun.
Yeah,
the only
Punisher,
plot
only
was the
fun.
one in the cemetery. There's a plot.
Hey,
Oh my god,
ring the bell, ring the bell. Christian, get the bell. We'll wait.
that was pretty good. I'll
He
give
brings-
Brody
he
that.
All
brings
right.
his own bell.
This is the new dunk
Yes.
on him. Yeah.
so, Katie, how surprised were you by Punisher: One Last Kill?
I was so mad after that.
I know you
I-
texted me. You texted me during, so I know.
Yeah, I did. I texted you during like the first 10 minutes, basically marking how many yops we got. The Barenthal, and then I because it felt like more than the lines that he had that were at least coherent. But I I said that it was tedious. It was a very it felt like a student film that is like, oh good, they're letting other people in, I guess. It felt like it was written by an actor, and it hurt my soul. It hurt my soul.
In the worst way. In the
Yes.
worst way.
Well, I'm going to make a comparison. Okay, the director of this did King Richard with Will Smith, which led him to violence against Chris Rock. He's now paying it forward. It is causing Katie to now be violent against, I dare say, the world. I think this might be the Punisher reborn. Is Katie now going after Punisher, going after Marvel, going after questionable writing choices?
I want to talk to John Barenthal right now. Just me and the Baron.
Zoom in.
Listen, yeah, zoom in. Go in on me if you can, there, Christian. I mean, if you
No,
want, I can do it for you.
I can't. You can do it. Yeah, that's fine. I don't even know. I didn't even know that was an option. So no, I can't.
Okay, so here's what happens, right?
Oh, I see. That way. Yeah.
Listen, you, John Barenthal. This is me, Katie Hampton, unknown, but Geekscape we're talking to you right now. You are an actor with influence to make good things. We know you really like what you do because you shoot people real good and your shirt off also real good.
Oh boy.
Here's the thing, my guy. Come on, we've got to bring in more artists on this because what the hell are you doing, Westman? We're already in a dying fucking industry. Okay, that's all I have to say.
Well, if you're going to talk about the artists, let's talk about the VFX team.
Oh, jeez.
Ah,
Because
Joel from The Last of Us.
this had premiered, I don't know, 2 hours before this became a meme. And a friend of mine was breaking down like, well, this is his stunt double, and they CGI'd his face. It's like, yes, we know
that.
it shouldn't look that way. It actually, to me, this shot more than anything looked like a video game, and because of the absolutely crazy time difference where it would be 5 a.m. Our buddy Adam Husey, the H-Man Husey was not able to join us, but he did want me to share some thoughts. So from Husey, he says, in 2005, they released a Punisher video game. Watching Punisher One Last Kill felt like watching someone play a 2005 video game in 2026. He also was not a fan of the Dude Bro music. And Eric Connor, you know better than most that lazy music licensing drives me insane. This didn't, that's so far from my problems with this though.
Yeah,
it's just, it's annoying, but I'm like, it's so far
it was
down.
Fine. It wasn't like you didn't discover a song you hadn't heard before that was like, wow, this is perfect. He's not one of the greats in that regard, whoever did this, but they weren't bad. Like, Hatebreed's a little cliche, but it fit the vibe. The writing of the scene and the motivation sucked more than anything else.
We start with mother, because here's the funny part: the mother who he left alive, we didn't know it at the time. We had to watch him walk around and talk to people who weren't there for a while. And Katie, you mentioned the grunting. There was grunting. Then eventually we understand, like, oh my God, that's why somebody had to cut a check to Glenn Danzig, which I don't know if you ever need to do that, but that's a conversation for a different show. This shot is unbelievably terrible. I'm sorry, go ahead. What was that?
It fits the demographic.
Yeah,
that's the target demo.
You're fair.
is Danzig fans.
Remember it was like a month ago when they laid off 1,000 VFX people.
Well, and this was the next day. This is what happened.
This feels like this is what happened.
Listen, also, hang on one second, Eric. If there are 1,000 VFX people who are doing work like this, then as long as they replace them with a new 1,000 who are better talented, I no notes from me. Now I think they just got rid of 1,000, which is
is that Billy on the street?
Billy Eichner?
It looks like Billy Eichner.
Yeah, I thought it was a property brother.
It feels like because this was like Bernthal's pet project that he got to like skip past basic checks and balances of like people listening to the audio, because like that's the thing again, is right, it's not just that this VFX shot is terrible, it's that it's in slow-mo. It's like so obviously, it's not like you watch it again and you're like, oh, in hindsight that looks kind of bad. Like that happens all the time with CGI, but like it sticks out like a sore thumb. It happens in slow motion. You're like, what the heck was that? It totally pulls you out of the scene.
Yeah, I did not fall asleep while I was watching this, but that effects shot made me wish I had, because then I'd be like, I don't know, it looked pretty good to me. And by the way, in the chat is our buddy, the One Pun, who says, I thought Hatebreed worked well in the later scene. And just to Nate's point, he's the demographic you're talking about. One Pun, great guy. I know the One Pun. I saw him in Vegas a month ago. And yes, I know what they're doing for Punisher. And listen, the Glenn Danzig mother, I've heard it licensed many times. You know what else I never need to have licensed in any movie or TV show ever? Any song from Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction. You know why? Because Thor Love and Thunder licensed all of them. It was the only music in that fucking movie was from Appetite for Destruction. But anyway, I said I wasn't going to talk about this.
And use your illusion. I don't mean to correct you, but they did go.
They had Get in the Ring. Yeah, you're right. Anyway, Katie, I started with a nice compliment about the tracking shot. What did you think? By the way, Eric's dog got really quiet before I brought up the topic that I'm about to bring up. So it's like, oh wait, he knows. Were we 4 minutes in before there was a canine homicide?
I don't think we were quite 4 minutes in. It was not long in, and it was
No.
like, oh, look at the only white tattooed bro dude boy with all of his masked friends who probably appeared later on in the film to be stunt doubles, which awesome. I thought the stunts were great. I thought that they did a really great job with the stunts. I felt like we could have lived a little bit more within the shots and kind of run with the flow of the coordination, because the coordination was there. The gun movement and everything was awesome. But yeah, we get to this guy. I'm like, okay, well, this is our planted seed of why Barenthal is going to have to look around at New York, because this guy killed a dog. And I just, come on, guys.
Well, hold
like-
on. Katie, I wasn't sure he was a bad guy until he killed that dog.
Yeah.
That's what I'm like.
okay.
Oh, I don't think he's nice. I don't think he's a friend.
That's how you find out. Okay.
That's not what friends do. It's what I've always taught my kids.
Wasn't when he like knee punted him in the head when he was feeding the dog? Okay.
Yeah, that could have been an accident. That happens. But no, only then was like, oh, I think maybe he's a problem. And he stole his hat. Not cool.
It's just like there's like a level of like, you know, you're supposed to have like subtle but obvious for all of your themes and things like that. And I just felt like a lot of the themes of this, whatever, I guess film is what we're calling it.
It's a special presentation,
student
Katie.
film. Student film.
Special presentation.
Yeah.
Student film.
Yeah. It's an extended audition tape is really what it is.
And it felt like, and that's
For
why
who?
it hurt. That's why it hurt, because it was like there were a lot of really great actors within all this, but we didn't get to actually like, this dude played a great douchebag. He was awesome. I would have loved to have like learned more about him and his little shirtless gang. Only he's the shirtless one, and everybody else is masked. Why is that? What's going on here? You know, it was just like there were so many very obvious poles planted within the story that felt like it was supposed to have an attached meaning, that just felt like, let's watch Barenthal do the same thing he's done before over and over and over again. And it's like, you know, it's shot well.
And
yeah.
do it worse.
You know, do you guys remember the Deadpool leaked footage that came out before any of the Deadpool movies were made? And it was just like a 10-minute scene of Deadpool on the highway, and it was all action, and it leaked out. They were hoping he would get a movie deal out of it, which he did. That, and it had no plot. There was no intro. It just all of a sudden started. That's sort of what this felt like to me. Like there's 40 minutes at the beginning missing. There's 20 minutes in the middle missing. There's another 15. There's something. This is just like part of it. This is all they found left after the fire. They were like, I put this on television.
Well,
It's a lot of dead ends, and it's a lot of
It's dog
no
water.
there's nothing
It's
nothing that relates to
ass.
Daredevil. He was in a cage in Daredevil. There's really no reference
but
to that.
we also start with him as an unreliable narrator, because he's seeing people that we know aren't there. So when he's doing that tracking shot through New York and everybody's going crazy and killing everyone, I'm also like, yeah, but he's an unreliable narrator. So how do I know if that actually exists, or that's just the like chaos in his mind?
You're doing so much mental gymnastics to try to give them some creative liberty, when the truth is that person who said it was like a video game nailed it right on the head. There is no like, is Frank imagining this? No, that's really happening because he's in a video game. These people exist only to be NPCs that are just morally gray enough for him to kill, and us as a viewer to be like, okay, well, they're bad people. They're rioting and they're acting crazy, and look at all the crime that they're doing. Like, man, New York City sure is going to hell these days. Like, it's so incredibly reactionary that it's like offensive. What's so insane to me is I used to think that Bernthal's Punisher was so good, and within the first 5 minutes of watching this, I was like, ugh, I want them to cast someone else. I'm so tired of this. No. Oh, his poor neck veins. Oh my God. The whole time he's just like, like, dude, what is happening?
Also, did you notice running through a door puts out the fire on your body? Did you guys know
Well,
that?
I did know that.
His
And
foot was still on fire.
by the
His
way,
foot, but the body wasn't.
Nate,
Yeah.
ask and you shall receive. Let's bring Dolph Lundgren back.
I thought that was
There you go.
great. I like this movie. I like
I-
the other one too. That has what's his name in
Thomas Jane. I like the Thomas
yes,
Jane one.
because those
yeah.
this is the thing that fundamentally like really fucked me up about this is that all of the work that they did with what we've seen of him as this character has been to show that like he's not a good guy. He's not a good guy. He sometimes he does bad things to bad people and it aligns with what we want the good guys what they want, but he's not a good guy. And this whole special with like the end, this idea of like trying to make him this hero and like no, like I have to go out there and murder people because no one else will. It just like feeds into this super fascist fantasy that is so antithetical to what the Punisher is supposed to be, and let alone to have him in the last scene with the American flag on his, like, what the fuck? Especially this Frank. Comic book Frank, never. But especially show Frank shouldn't either, since the government was even more directly involved. All of that stuff that they made up for the show is not from the comic. They never had this whole government plot and all this stuff to kill his family. All that stuff they decided to add in. They decided to add all this stuff about how the vets are poorly treated and all this stuff in the second season. And now you're going to have Frank come through all of this stuff, just going on a murder hobo spree and then being like, oh yeah, I'm putting the flag back on my thing. Like, come the fuck on. Like, I'm sorry. This shit was ridiculous. John Bernthal needs to not be allowed anywhere near a writer room, let alone near this character. They need to kill it off and like not have it come back. I hope that he reaches a place in this Spider-Man movie where we don't ever see him again, because it's legitimately insulting. And especially for the director to get out there and start talking on these interviews about how he took influence from this Garth Ennis book. You need to read it again, dog. You completely missed the point. Like, the things that they tried to take from that and apply to this are frankly insulting. He must have read like the first 3 issues and not even finished volume 1. It's like, it's ridiculous.
No, I think he meant from a
Nothing
Garth
said the
Brooks
acting was okay.
album. That was his influence. Was Garth Brooks.
Or
the
Wayne and
Brooks
Garth
speaking.
from Wayne's World.
It was
Yeah.
the Chris Gaines one, and
Now-
I believe you're referencing a book that Eric and I are talking about in the next installment of the Geekscape Book Club, which our video audience will see after this. The Punisher Born, which, whoo boy, that's a doozy. But I want to bring the chat in for a moment. Daniel Drew, so Fisk was ignoring this neighborhood with his attack on crime. No, I think the point is that the product of having a Mayor Fisk, however long you have them. By the way, this was Little Sicily. I don't live in New York anymore. Brody, where is Little Sicily? Can you draw a map for us?
I don't know where Little Sicily is, but I know that was at least New York. It was Brooklyn and Queens that they used for most of those shots. So it's a real neighborhood.
It's
Little Sicily. I mean, I know where Arthur Avenue in the Bronx is, but I can Google Little Sicily. But
I didn't know where it was, but it looked conspicuously like whatever is a single company move from Silver Cup Studios, if we're just being honest. So I assume that a lot of it was probably that's in Queens, right? Kaufman
That's Long Island City.
So it looked like Long Island City, but anyway. I had never even heard of Little Sicily before.
It doesn't exist.
Like,
There's no such place. I just Googled it. There's no such place, which is why I never heard of it. By the way,
yes, Mr. Brody.
I was just going to say the director claimed he based a lot of it off that book. I'm going to say that it's obvious there's some John Wick tie-ins with all the gunfighting, but hear me out. In the John Wick movies, isn't there a time when they say, as of this time, everyone's going to come after you? And also, how did John Wick's, the first movie, start? They killed a dog. I mean, this is exactly John Wick. They kill a dog. There's the murder. Everyone, all the hitmen are going to know where you are at a certain time. It's the same friggin' plot. It's the same plot as the John Wick movies.
So you're saying this was
basically
Frank Wick is the
I'm saying the way, what was that movie that Benicio del Toro or the other Spanish director with the mermaid? What was that movie? Shape of Water.
Benicio del Toro.
Guillermo del Toro.
Del Toro, right?
Yeah. That was Splash. That was scene for scene Splash, and he won an Academy Award for it. Tom Hanks jumps in with her at the end. Same thing happens in this movie. This is the same analogy I'm making. This is John Wick. They killed the dog, clocks, times, mercenaries. I don't know why I watched this movie only to do this podcast.
Well, I mean, that would,
yeah,
You would have watched
legitimately,
it anyway. Hold on, you already had that half that T-shirt, so
Yeah,
of
that's
course
true.
you're gonna
Well,
watch it.
I had the T-shirt from Daredevil and the Punisher, not from the Punisher.
All right.
Christian's the one wearing the
I'm-
Punisher shirt.
Yeah, well, because when was the last time I had to wear it? All right, I want to bring in a comment from the one pun because it made me laugh. So we have this guy again, pasty, shirtless, white guy, and he knew he was a bad guy as soon as he recognized that he looked like a member of Sugar Ray. And yes, I know there was a lot of setup there, but thank you, the one pun, because that does make me laugh.
We'll say
Every
Sugar-
morning, this guy looks like that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, nice. Get a bell. Yep.
Didn't want to step on that. No, he's in a Sugar Ray cover band, which I would say is sort of like Death with Dying.
See, I thought he was in
it's
the Danzig
Splendor
cover
Ray.
band.
On fire today. All right, I'll let Brody talk.
No, I'm sorry.
Now
What were
let's
you
get
going to say,
real.
Brody?
He hasn't recovered yet.
His was Sweet and Low Ray, so he's mad that I just said
No, that was very funny. It's very funny.
There's no equal Ray to that joke. Thank you.
Ah.
I'll see myself out.
Okay, here's the question. I don't know that this is true. I'm going to go right to Nate because Nate and I were the ones who we knew what we knew. Hang on. We knew what Secret Invasion was before anyone else on our show did. So Kemi Egan's
said
it was better
nameless.
than the show that shall remain nameless. I'm going to say I don't know for sure.
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
only there's
That's
only one of them.
bullshit.
Because it feels insane, but over the course of those episodes, there's definitely enough bearable material you could cut together that would be better than this.
That's what I'm
Just
saying.
simply alone for how short it is. It's like you had this much time and this is what you did with it.
Yeah.
I Secret Invasion was terrible, but there were like at least it didn't feel like Samuel L. Jackson wrote it just so he could like try to make himself feel cool, trying to make himself feel like he's a tough guy and not just like a emotional actor who's never done anything tough in his whole life. Like, come
But
on.
I have a theory. John Bernthal, his co-screenwriting part, all the grunts. In essence, no other words. He's like, you know what we really need here? Grunt.
Yeah.
And that was the writer's room.
I also feel like we've talked about the action a little bit, and there was a lot of scenes that I liked, but I do agree with Katie that it was over edited in a lot of spots, and there are like some truly beautiful shots, some like really clever cinematography that I don't think serves the purpose of what they were trying to do with the film. I think just because you have an amazing cinematographer who can get great shots and stuff doesn't mean that that is going to serve the visual narrative of what you're trying to tell. And I don't think that they totally captured, like there were some action sequences that felt really good. And then there were some that were like really heavily edited and did feel kind of just video game character moving down a hall. Particularly the stuff like with him jumping off the roof and then jumping off the scaffolding and then throwing the guy on the scaffolding just kind of felt like it felt like they wrote up of him coming up to the roof and they're like, well, he's on the roof, so what do we have him do now? He jumps off. Like just very much like point to point writing. And so I don't know, like I think the action is the most redeemable part of it, that they were willing to go the length to show how visceral these fights can be, how violent they are, how animalistic Frank can be. Like that to me is like, I would rather see him go apeshit doing that than screaming to himself in a room. But I just don't know if that is enough to carry this project to something that I'm ever going to want to watch again or recommend to someone or even say like, oh, I hope they make more of this. I don't know. To me, the best positive is that, hey, Disney is willing to put something like this out, but also given the sound issues and the VFX issues, maybe they just didn't look at it and we're not aware of how violent it was going to be.
I had a question because I mean, as far as sound, like oftentimes I have to watch these things not with the best sound, like through headphones, not through a big sounds. What was the issues with the sound? I mean, because that was something I definitely in the crappy headphones I did not notice.
I didn't run into it actually. I thought it sounded okay, but I don't have a great sound system. Just watching on my television sounds like earbuds in Eric's ears from 2 blocks away.
There was one scene where he said "grr," but I went back and listened, and it was "gar." It was a little muffled the first time.
Okay, that is.
There was
Yeah,
some
so I just know people were
Thank God you
complaining
had the
about it.
subtitles, so you
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know the
Yeah.
difference.
Sorry, what
That
did you
was
say?
Go
ahead.
I was just saying there were some scenes where it felt like the dialogue was really buried in the mix.
Mhm.
It was kind of muddy, and I felt I noticed myself. I kept turning the TV up, and then it would get into another gunfight, and I'd be like, "Oh crap! I have to turn the TV down now. It's crazy loud." I don't know when you guys watched it. I do know that Disney said that they were going to look at the sound issue, so that may have been adjusted already if you watched it later
Well,
than I did. But
to what you
I-
said, Nate, I will never know because I'm certainly not going to rewatch it. What were you going to say, Katie?
I was just gonna say I did have a couple of moments of just being like, wait, what did he just say as he was muttering incoherently to himself? And I was like, oh, should I do the closed captioning? And I was just like, I don't think it really matters. Like, there's no, that's kind of the thing that I was like, what a swing and a miss. I mean, way to like completely biff this whole take of going from the TV show that we finally have this like pretty good reborn series that then launches into this like Punisher thing. And it was like, you have all the great opportunities. Why not take it to the next level? And even the stuff with Karen Page, I was like, okay, so she's not really there. And is this like, so we're just saying that like, hey, if you're alone and insane enough, you'll kill the right people. Like that's what I felt like that was going.
Also, when you're mourning your dead wife,
yeah,
good. It's good to have a hot blonde. It's good to have a hot blonde to think about. I mean, this is another important lesson. Again, for my high school age sons, I want them to know these things.
Well, Karen's not dead, so I think he's on something. Yeah, you know, she's.
No, but it,
even though this Karen wasn't real, there is a real Karen.
It's just the same Punisher story over and over again. It's just the
Wait,
same.
Hold on, I disagree.
I don't want to be Punisher anymore.
No,
I
Nate.
have to be Punisher. Oh, I don't want to be Punisher anymore. Oh, I have to be Punisher. Like,
Hold
yes,
on.
bro, you have to kill people. Do it. Stop
until
crying.
Until this special, I had no idea he was tortured or violent. I had no idea until I saw this. I don't know what you're talking about. This taught me everything.
I'm glad they reminded us his family was killed because I wouldn't have
no idea.
That was any motivation in his life.
And that there was 18,000 people behind it that were all involved.
Can we talk about
who's good at killing?
So here's the thing: when you write in a script that you have to focus on an item, any item, that is your fucking Chekhov's gun. Like that is you have to use this. He puts it on the gravesite.
The key,
with all of the stuff, the key, and then like he comes back like, oh my god, I just found this key. Like you put it down there like 10 minutes ago, dude. Like what?
Well, he's crazy though. So
yeah, that's why he doesn't track for a long time.
Katie, there is no way to open up that chest without that key. I mean, I think I'm sorry, and if you know a way, please explain it to us, because to me that's that tiny little lock.
Speaking of opening up his chest, why did he cut himself in the chest at the beginning? He doesn't want to be a Marine anymore. Is that what that was?
Because it's the only way he could feel something.
Can we talk about?
You're talking like you weren't a teenage cutter like the rest of us. Go ahead.
That's true.
A little dark.
Wow.
A little dark.
But I just wanted to feel something. Go ahead, Katie.
That's our Instagram story.
Yeah, clip it, Matt Kelly. Clip it.
just you in a gray hoodie that zipped up, and then just like a red cross right there, guys. That was a secret.
Dancing,
X-Men's coming,
so it all works out. It all comes full circle. Go ahead,
crossover.
Yeah. It was an X-Men nod. The X on his chest. That's why he had to cut himself. No, it was just such a frustrating moment, because it was like, yeah, Punisher is a great story. Punisher has like really cool stuff, and then we get bogged down in this guy who literally chucks a dog in front of, and we don't come back to that until the final scene. Like it's supposed to mean something now that his one last kill was the guy who chucked a dog in front, and we learned this through looks, because last time we were there, he was off, and I don't know, like the timing of everything was just so not reliable.
Can I speak to that?
Go ahead, Brody.
No, I was just going to speak to the. Okay, Nate brought this up a little bit before. All right, so he gets that flower from that girl, not particularly well designed or drawn. I don't want to shame her. not great work. I could see why she gave it away.
She
And so
sold
you
that shit.
Right, what's that?
Well, she
sold
would
it.
not have passed that art test that used to be like on the inside of matchbooks.
Oh,
for
right.
sure.
Can you draw this turtle?
Can you draw that turtle? Yeah,
No, she couldn't draw it.
turtle.
So she gives him this not particularly well-designed piece, and he learned how to love again. He learned how to laugh again. We all had some fun. And then so you think, okay, so maybe he's turned over a new leaf. We see him again. He gets that guy back his hat. And he's got his nice happy shield on, like a young Christian Bladt, his angry self back in New York, and his beard looks good. He got some Just for Men, so he's looking good. You're thinking, okay, so he's figured out. He gets the hat, he puts the knife to the guy's face, and you think, okay, well, he's now Punisher. Maybe he'll punish a little less, right? And then he's like, "What about my dog?" It's like, all right, I guess I'll shoot him in the head. So what I loved is he learned nothing. He was like, what was the lesson of that flower and the cute little girl? I don't know. Take the hat first, then shoot him in the head.
That life is fleeting. I think.
No, I think the flower was you can do good by getting revenge for the right people.
Just stay organized.
Right, but by the way, the guy didn't.
Terrible message.
It's a terrible message.
Terrible message.
When you show a guy in mental illness and severe mental illness with no solutions, then no, get the key back from the grave and stick it in, like get back to shooting people.
Yeah.
Like, what are we saying here, Disney?
Get back to what you love.
He didn't. The homeless guy didn't say he also killed my dog. He said that's not all he took from me.
Yeah.
So as far as Punisher knew, it could have been 15 cents. Oh, he also took my sweatbands. Oh, I got to kill him now. He had no idea why he's like, he took my hat and he goes, that's not all he took from me. Oh, something else. Okay. Now I'm going to kill him.
He scuffed up my Adidas.
I'm of the firm belief that there are many great Punisher stories that have been told. This is not one of them. So go check out the 5-issue 1985 miniseries by Stephen Grant and the wonderful Mike Zeck. You just read those 5 issues. It's fine. There are so many other ones, but that's the first Punisher miniseries. It's a great place to start, and then circle back with me, and I'll give you recommendations that are not this. I don't keep up on the wait. It's not that's not the one. Live, laugh, headshot though is actually very good. Cam Egan said tonight's episode of The Boys was better than One Last Kill. I don't watch that show, so I don't.
Boys is great though. Boys is a fantastic show.
Fantastic.
Is it as good as Game of Thrones? I've never seen that either. Okay, so it's fine.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, me same. Yeah, exactly. All right. So we have talked about a lot of things that were not great. I think it was fun to see Karen Page, even though she's a figment of his imagination. I like seeing Curtis again. I had forgotten about Curtis, and there he was, a little callback. And so John Bernthal's daughter played his daughter Lisa again, as in that series. I don't know how much we need some of these things, but it was like, all right. I really felt like it was building towards something. And then Angela Bauer comes in and says, everybody's going to show up. And I hadn't made the John Wick connection, but yes, the John Wick aspect of this. But let me ask, I haven't seen all the John Wick movies. When they end, do you feel that the story has at least mostly been seen through to a conclusion? Or do you feel like in the middle of it, they're like, well, we got another roll of film, but fuck it. Let's just go throw it in the trash and run credits. Anybody?
Well, John Wick 2, I knew.
No, I don't. I haven't seen all the John Wick movies, Nate. I don't know. Maybe.
The difference is when John Wick 2 ended, you knew there was a 3.
Oh.
And when 3 was made, you were pretty sure there was going to be a 4. There's no sequel to this. There's no next episode. There's no prior episode. They just threw it at us and said, here's what we have. It's the meat. There's no sandwich.
Well, the meat comes out of the guy's head is the opening shot of my thinking, Spider-Man Brand New Day. It starts with, no. And then Spider-Man shows and Punisher just goes, and then we're into a happier movie.
You know what's great? They said this movie was going to lead directly from Daredevil right into Spider-Man.
Yes, that's why
this was that's it.
Yeah,
this was the bridge. This is a bridge with no towers and no ramp. It's just the middle section. There's no bridge. This could not have existed and it wouldn't have mattered.
No, I could not find the confounded bridge. So, Eric, we're going through some of your images, and this is not a good example of fire safety. And I think that of all the reasons why younger audiences should not see this is they do think, Brody, you were the one who brought to our attention that all you have to do is run through a hallway and jump through a door, and then the fire goes out. And that was the lesson we're supposed to take away. Yeah.
Stop, drop, and leap. That's everybody knows that.
Oh yeah, I did always hear that. Yeah. That's right.
And grunt.
The door was made out of water and baking soda. I think that was the key. Oh,
what was this? Now, Eric, for our audio audience, make sure that they understand what it is that we're talking about as you explain it.
Yes, when I was a young lad growing up in the mean streets of Delaware, and you would watch local wrestling or regional wrestling, sometimes things would get a little bloody, and they'd put a big X with the word censored on it. And you're like, oh my God, what did Blackjack Mulligan do to Andre the Giant? That was so horrific that we're not allowed to see it. And we would all try to like peek, and it never worked, like the Scrambled Spice Network in the old days of cable. And so I did this because basically for the next 8 minutes of this show, there was nothing that I felt comfortable screen grabbing for this episode. I'm always worried about the poor kid who pauses on a moment in this show. I don't know why they would ever pause on our banter. But yeah, so thus the censored. It was a lot of R-rated. This was, as far as I know, the first time since, I think, the Marvels that there was a blood-soaked oral sex scene. And I'll give Disney credit. I didn't think they'd go for that.
No, the re-release of Thunderbolts had it, and it used a different Starship song. And I'm sorry. You distracted me. I heard half of what you said, but I had to look up the fact that there was someone named Blackjack Mulligan.
Oh yeah, he was terrific.
He would do the claw. That was his move.
I'm not a big wrestling guy. Obviously, I know Andre the Giant because he's one of the greats of our time. In fact, Troy McClure, I do believe, did a video, Andre the Giant, We Hardly Knew Ye. And along with Shemp Howard, Today We Mourn a Stooge. Should we know anything about Blackjack Mulligan, Eric?
I could do an entire separate episode, but I'll hold off on it. Just
this is why we need a Patreon bonus episode just about Blackjack.
Just
Mulligan.
Me alone opining about Blackjack Mulligan. But yes, he caused much blood to flow from the French giant's head.
I'll put you on with my friend Vinny Paulino. I feel like you guys would actually have a great time. We don't need to talk more about Blackjack Mulligan, but I do want to comment on. Listen, I knew that this was a Punisher special presentation, and I know Disney Plus, it's almost like they have to go the extra mile because we were talking about on different platforms when Disney acquired Fox. We're like, well, some of these characters are never going to look the way we remember them, and Deadpool and Wolverine really went the extra mile. I think there's a lot of violence we didn't need on here, and let's call it out. Going back to season 1 of Daredevil Born Again, that guy's head should have never been crushed. The only head crushing I enjoy is when Mark McKinney does it on Kids in the Hall. I did not appreciate that level of it. So
Christian, are you saying that if like something like that were to happen on this live stream right here, you would want this to be censored?
Yes, I would. That was great. That's some really nice work. I'm glad you did that. And,
and then it's saved in there for you if you want.
Blackjack Mulligan would be proud.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I don't know who the violence is for. I guess Nate is.
I like the violence. I'm all for the violence. I like the head squishing because the head squishing shows you how awful and vile of a person he was. Right?
Yeah.
My issue with the violence in this is that you're having him be extra X-rated violent and also trying to tell me that he's a hero and a good guy. Instead of embracing what Punisher should be and being like, oh my God, that's a monster. But oh, look, the monster is pointed in the direction of other monsters, but it's still a monster. Not like, oh, I could save him. He chose to save the girl and the family. See, he's actually a good guy. No, he's not a good guy. He's an awful, terrible murderer, a homicidal murderer who only knows one way to solve problems. And that should not, there's no part of that should try to be like morally gray. I mean, gray even I would take better than how I think they displayed it in this. Like that's, I think if there's any issue with the violence, it's that of like showing him do the things that he did to human beings in this, and then in the end trying to be like, and that's why he's our Punisher, what that New York needs. Like you can't have both.
Well, I do think that Frank Castle finds himself in a lot of situations where just killing everyone in the room is actually the one and only way out of it. And listen, when he's killing crime families and drug lords in various drug bosses in warehouses, we can kind of be like, yeah, all right, Frank's doing the right thing. It's always worth like asking, like, well, why is Frank doing this? And it's like, listen, Brody, you always say this to me. If you kill 100 people, probably 4 of them deserve it. So why not just go ahead, right?
Yeah. I mean, let God sort them out. Yeah, that's what I always say.
That's what you always say.
Famous Brodyism.
Yeah.
That was it. That was in his ketubah, his marriage contract.
Yeah, I wrote that.
That's coming to our merch store too, Katie.
Sounds
right?
better in Hebrew though.
Perfect.
Eric, you have some kind of bit prepared. So I'm going to go ahead and explain this. And again, remember that a good chunk of our audience does not see anything right now.
I understand.
Audio only. Yes.
All right. Well, this is a book. This is actually a takeoff of Count with Elmo, one of Christian's favorite books, not for his children, for himself.
No, I learned a lot from that book. Yeah.
Obviously.
So here's the question for you guys, over under, I don't know, within a few. How many people did we absolutely know Punisher killed in that 7-minute set piece set in the apartment, sort of like The Raid meets John Wick 2? How many people do you think we saw him actually kill?
46.
So you counted and you know the answer.
Did. I do. I mean, I might be off by a little bit, but 46 is Brody's answer.
Okay, and Nate, you said 5?
25.
25.
25. Katie?
Okay.
Oh man, I'm like, I'm thinking too hard because I'm just like, it's got to be 47 then, because that's the time that he was like supposed to be getting the kill switch on. No, so I'm gonna say 30. I'm gonna say 35.
Okay.
And
Christian
Ken
Blatt?
Egan says 28. And I'm sorry, I'm going to play Price is Right rules. $1, Bob.
The actual answer is, and listen, I'm not positive. Some of them could have died later from internal injuries or from, I don't know, vitamin deficiencies. But by my count, 66.
No way.
And then
I
this
was
year,
closest.
yes, one last kill. March of Error, 70 kills because he killed a few other guys. So that's 66 for the set piece plus a few extra.
So you're really going out of your way to not say that the number of kills was 6-7. You're just stopping yourself. You will not say that.
I'm not feeding that. I'm not feeding that.
You could have said 69 and we all could have giggled.
Nope, I don't go there.
You would have gotten. I would have hit the bell 69 times. But
one last kill too will have a blood-soaked scene of that number.
Oh,
they already promised that.
I hope not. And then Eric, now that I'm finally able to advance through your images because I was told I had to stop on the book cover, you also seem to notice that there's a lot of layers to the composition of this shot that we were talking about earlier.
All work.
It should all be blurry because it would make it look better, I guess. Oh, you know what? Look, the best actually, if they just left the lens cap on. Anyway, what were you going to say?
It's just an off-camera shot, and someone go, "Oh my god, he shot him in the head." In ADR.
It's also just like not a cool stunt. Like he just jumped off a roof,
falling backwards while shooting a guy in the head.
To be fair, him landing on the roof of the bus, like that's okay. But yeah, like, oh, I'm gonna land on some wood that probably won't hurt as much as anything else.
Well, they didn't have a budget for the empty cardboard boxes they normally fall onto.
So yeah, I think that's she stitched that together. So it's like that was the art project. Is that it was like layers of like something that she like stitched together.
You don't have to defend her.
I know.
Defender.
Did she stitch together the remains of the dog? Is that what that is?
Oh,
I'm just glad that it didn't have any blood on it. Like, I don't know how, because like 5 people died in that little donut shop alone in front of her. And she was like, oh, you know what you could use after I saw you murder people in front of my eyes? Have a flower.
Yeah, she needs to see a doctor.
Yeah, they all do. They all need to see a therapist, and definitely not Muse.
And she's not, by the way, what I really love about that girl's performance, she saw all these horrific things, everyone's shaken up. She's like, what do you do? It's like a zunt, as they say.
She's like,
fine.
Yeah,
she hugs him. I'm like, oh.
That's life in Little Sicily, I think.
Oh, sure.
And
my favorite Sinatra song, by the way.
One pun is very very on point here with Little Donut Shop of Horrors. And how many concussions did Frank get for each fall that he took? I'm going to say 0 because he gets hurt all the time, you know.
And the stunt double is the one who really took that fall, so he's fine. He's fucked, but Frank's fine.
Did the pen stabbing take anybody else out of it? The scene,
like the over and over and over. Yeah, no,
I didn't think there was. No, I didn't think there was enough. I lost count. I was gonna do that as a counter too, but I got tired.
I just don't think that's possible. Like maybe you stick him one time, maybe, but like it's not gonna go that deep. It's a ballpoint pen. They're not. The pen's gonna break before you. It's like that guy was like jacked.
If it was like the old school like quill and ink, like the big feather pen, would that have at least been more believable, Nate?
Yes, those are sharp as hell.
That would have been great. All right.
I mean, if he had broken it and stabbed him with the broken plastic, I would have been like, okay, oh wow.
My pickle pen would do all sorts of damage on your ass, Nate.
The pickle pen has grip.
Maybe don't say pickle and ass together like that.
By the way, for the listening audience, that was by far the best little crinkle of you trying to find it and then pulling out a pickle.
That was a pickle pen. Yeah.
Okay, don't say pull out a pickle. Where was
pull out a pickle?
She knows what she said.
Yeah.
Don't be scared of the pickle.
Yeah.
Pen.
Don't shame me.
It's not gonna
buy
hurt
me
you.
dinner first.
The pickle pen is mightier than the sword.
So Frank Castle will not return in
or the
Avengers
pickle spear,
Doomsday, but Frank Castle will return.
You sure about that?
In we know the next time we see him. Will he be in Doomsday? Maybe. Because maybe he's got a pickle pen in that. We don't know.
Somebody over there likes him a lot. To put this out,
I'm going to argue that before this, I thought he was very good. I liked his standalone show. I thought the season of Daredevil that he was on was amazing, and I think that. I think that we could sweep this under the rug, depending on. He seems like he's not all moody like this. He does hit Spider-Man with a van, so but he seems like he's smiling about it. So
listen, he's back on his Jack Daniels. So while he's working out and pumping iron, I mean, who doesn't like a big swig of a 40-liter jug of whiskey while working out until your hands bleed? Really gets the blood moving.
Yeah.
Right out. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. I agree with all of it.
Richard Simmons' later career was his push, was whiskey up while you work out. And it worked out great for him.
Boozing to the oldies.
Yeah.
Oh. So Nate, do you feel like John Bernthal might be able to win you back if he's used in a reasonably competent way in Spider-Man Brand New Day, or is this past the point of no return for you?
I mean, it feels, I can't think of another time where I have been excited about an actor playing a role of a character I enjoy have a 180 on me so hard, so quick of just by the end, I was just like, ugh, I just don't I don't know. Like,
Let
I
writers
think
write
with the
stories. Let actors act them.
exactly. I think him being, if they use him in the way that they used him in Daredevil Born Again, then I think it'll be fine. I think he's a good actor. I think he can play the character. I think when the character is written to do things the character should do, behave how it should behave, I think when the script that when the answer to why things happen is not to make John Bernthal look cool, I think he will be fine. I still think the Spider-Man movie is going to be good. I think the use of I'm hoping that they just really wanted to have this as like a, hey, if you don't know Punisher, here's an intro to Punisher. Even in that regards, I think it just doesn't do it anywhere near as good as what we've already have. Fine. This allows him then to come into the Spider-Man movie and be the Punisher and be killing people, and allow Peter to have this disagreement with him of like, hey, I don't kill people. That's not cool. And, we get to have that dilemma. So there couldn't be cool stuff from him. But yeah, if I hear anything about Bernthal being anywhere near close to the writer's room or a producer or something on a project, I'm immediately out, because it just felt like watching the dude beat himself off. Like, the whole thing was just like, oh man, look how cool I am. I got so jacked for this, and now I'm gonna shoot all these cool guns, and like I'm such a cool tough guy, and I love the military, and the military loves me, and all this shit. And it's just like I don't need any of that.
Don't forget the pens. Brody, the next time I see you, will you be wearing that shirt, but half of it will be cut out or just shredded because you're so angry at Frank Castle?
I'm going to take a pen and continuously stab this part of the shirt until there's nothing left. You can't make out what's a Daredevil shirt. What's that other side? There's just holes there.
But you can stab it so many times that it makes it look like Muse. That might actually.
If you remember correctly, Daredevil didn't. Frank Castle, John Bernthal did not want to be part of Daredevil Born Again season 1.
Correct.
Right? They filmed it without him because he said it was so terrible he wanted no part of it. Then they retooled it, and my guess is they begged him to film some scenes, and the payoff was, we'll give you your own show if you help us save season 1. That's got to be the way he got his own show.
Yes, I think
he said, I'll do that if you give me my own show. It's got to be.
Agreed.
Yeah. No, I definitely, I think that's exactly what happened. And we did talk, I think it was one of the ones you weren't on, but that the idea was he wasn't in the original version of it. And then when the new crew came in, he was on board, lightly, but he was in there. Katie, what does this do for your overall thoughts when you think of John Bernthal as the Punisher? Are you able to think of what's come before, or this is just one of those fresh wounds that just won't stop bleeding, and you got to change the bandage every 90 minutes?
Listen, it's just going to be something that I'm going to pass over this project, just in general, in my opinion of this. Like, I still think that John Bernthal is an amazing actor. I feel like everybody who worked on it does a good job in what they do. I just feel like there were either too many cooks in the kitchen. Maybe there was just a little bit too much influence from talent instead of just from like actual producers who are looking for story and arcs and connecting through the whole MCU. But yeah, if I see him attached as a writer, producer, whatever, I'm gonna pass. I love him. I think he's great for this role. I think he's perfect for this role. It's just, I think it needs to be written by an actual writer who can tell a story arc.
Yeah. Listen, I mean, we can certainly point to instances where an actor collaborating will make a project better. Maybe Ryan Reynolds comes to mind, but some people would feel differently. And
Stallone.
Yeah, that's true. Tango and Cash would have been unwatchable if not for that. And thank you for this. Eric sent me this image that says Punisher's body dump will return. Excuse me. Hold on. Let's make it so that Matt Kelly can clip this. I want to thank Eric for sending me this image that says Punisher's body double will return in Avengers Doomsday. And tune in to Marvel Movie Talk right here on Geekscape. Oh, man, that was fucking beautiful.
You're a pro.
That's some nice
One
work.
take. One take.
That's
Christian Blatt. One
What-
last take.
what
One last take.
I like that. I like that a lot. That was a hot take. Eric
That's killed
Connor,
it. Yes, sir.
your overall thoughts, John Bernthal, the Punisher. And by the way, there was a whole conversation thread. People were, saying that this was better than Secret Invasion, and it's just like, I think we talked about that enough. I don't think that's a conversation that proves anything. But I want to get your thoughts, Eric Connor.
I think if this was, if the last half of this was an episode of Punisher, it actually, I think, might have worked. The idea of like, Angela shows up from Who's the Boss with a limp and a big bodyguard who says nothing and says, I sent everyone to you, Tony Danza, 11:47, get ready. And it was nice of her to give him, by the way, an advance notice. I think that was it's always smart. Villains are always brilliant like that.
Typical 1960s Batman villains. Like,
Of course.
I'm gonna be robbing the bank on 3rd and Main while
Right.
you're not gonna be able to escape.
It's the
Oh,
same
yeah.
handbook that the James Bond
James Bond, right.
would use. Yes, of course. Yeah.
And so I think the second half of this was actually pretty fun. I think I also compared it to The Raid, which is a really great action film. And so I thought like that was kind of cool. I'll agree that like some of the editing was a little whatever, but I think that could have been a really cool standalone plot as an episode of TV that had a larger frame. As a one shot, even it's a little strange because usually the one shots, which the boys just did a really brilliant spin on a few weeks ago, usually is a very complete story with a beginning, middle, and an end. This one had parts of maybe a middle.
There were a couple of middles, but no beginnings, and certainly
all middles,
no ends. Yeah.
all middles, all middlers, and I think like I thoroughly enjoyed those 8 minutes. I thought were batshit crazy in a really fun way. I love that tracking shot that you mentioned, Christian. I'm not holding this against John Bernthal. I think I will give him a little bit of grace and forgiveness, and then shoot him in the head, like I learned in this movie.
With a gun or with a pen? I think it's an important question.
With a pickle pen, which, as we know, can actually penetrate muscle, as we've learned. I learned a lot. I'm excited that it's him and Spider-Man. This is definitely a case of someone that it needs him solo. No, him playing off of Tom Holland, that I'm here for.
Sure.
And or him playing off of any number of the cast members of Daredevil. It works great. So him solo, I think this might be his last solo hurrah. I don't see another season of Punisher after this thing, but I don't think we need another season. I think we need to put him in the mix, and it'll be a much better taste when there's other ingredients. And that is what I say.
That is what you say. And yes, there were a lot of people along the way to say yes to this. And Daniel Drew points out Winterbaum amongst everyone. Kevin Feige could have stopped this, and he didn't. So ultimately we can the Bucks should have stopped a lot long before him. So I wanted to make sure that we talked about this. I was going to say we gave it its due, but I don't think it was due 63 minutes of conversation. But there was some other news this week, actually, in the last couple of days. And I think something that'll be fairly important and certainly interesting as it relates to this show that we do, Marvel Movie Talk, which, by the way, there is really no off season for us because we will kind of be rolling right on into Spider-Man Noir. And all I can say is check your local listings. And by that, I mean, follow me on social media at Christian DNZ, because they're releasing them all at once, but you can watch the first one if you have MGM Plus a couple days early. It's a whole thing. Anyway, something that we knew was coming soon to television near us was Vision Quest, because we all remember the end of WandaVision, and was that 7 years ago or 50 years ago? Anyway, well, we know that Vision Quest, the story that you might not remember at all, wondering where it was, and I thought we were getting White Vision there, and I think we are. I think they just happen to have an image of Vision the way we remember him from the movies, because he had kind of been reduced to the White Vision. And anyway, we have a date for that, and I want to say, you know what? I know Daniel put it in the chat, so why am I even looking for it?
It's
If Daniel is going to tell me what it is, why would I even look for anything? Yeah, October 14th. It'll be 8 episodes of Vision Quest. Paul Bettany will return, and Katie, the great Todd Stashwick, will be playing a character known as Paladin. Todd Stashwick, one of the Federation captains from season 3 of Star Trek Picard, also from 12 Monkeys, and I bet a bunch of other stuff, but those are the things that I know him from. So those are the examples I'm providing. So I'm interested. I'll be interested in seeing the story, but I'm going to say there'll be no Wanda in this, except I guess he could imagine her, right? But we're not going to re-alive her just for this series, are we, Katie?
No, because I feel like they've also released some, oh gosh, what was it? There was some footage of oh, I can't remember what the scene was, but it was with Hulk, and they were saying that when you're dead, you're actually dead. That creates the timeline branch or something. And so I feel like we're not going to see Wanda until we get some kind of House of M thing, and I think that's probably just going to be a different actress by that point.
Do you think it'll be Mary Kate or Ashley Olsen if they pick
that's the question. Yeah.
All right. Oh, it's just trying to get an answer, but you know what? That's too hot of a take. You know what? You were wise. Don't try and head down the middle and split fans of one versus the other.
Yeah.
So Nate, whenever there's a new Marvel Studios series heading to a streaming service, usually Disney Plus, I always ask you, hey, do you want to be in on this one? Where's your interest level on Vision Quest?
I mean, I just kind of forgot it was a thing.
Like everyone.
I feel kind of neutral about it. I don't expect too much, which is nice, because then I won't really be disappointed. But I don't know. There's some cool stuff they could do with that character, and it's a space that, especially since WandaVision, has kind of been left unexplored. So I will definitely check it out, unless I see some trailers as it gets closer and it just looks really bad. But I think it will be fine. I really haven't looked into it at all.
If it looks like Paul Bettany's stunt double falls into a pile of wood and then they put the Vision face over it, are you like, all right, I don't think I need that, right?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think I would really be shocked to see a shot like that in Vision Quest. I think it will have its own CGI problems, I'm sure, but I think nothing that will be that glaring and in slow-mo. So I think
wouldn't it be great if we just went back to in-camera effects? Just putting that out there.
That's the thing, is it is an in-camera effect, but they just relied on post effects to make it work. If when you look at it, the way that the air conditioner breaks apart and there's another box of metal underneath it, is just that's just not how that structure should look, broken apart. That adds to the weird bouncy, unrealistic feel of the whole thing. And they were just obviously covering up the pad that the stunt guy fell on. But instead of being clever and putting the camera in a way where it's easier to do that, they just shot it dead on and we're like, oh yeah, we'll cut it out in post, and that's what we got.
Brody, I want to, this is one of those ones where I feel like it could go either way. I think most of us kind of forgot that this was a thing. I mean, I forgot that we were even getting this year, but what are your thoughts knowing that mid-October when you and I both know we won't have to be putting a lot of attention on the baseball playoffs. We'll have plenty of time for 8 episodes of Vision Quest. Our calendars will be completely clear. So is this the perfect timing for you and me, Darick? October 14th. I don't think we're getting all 8 episodes at once, but we'll get 8 of them.
I'm in for Vision Quest.
I'm in because there's not enough Marvel movies this year, so the TV shows are a nice filler for me. And if it's the same creative team as WandaVision, I'm hopeful. If it's the same creative team as Echo, I'm not hopeful. Thank you.
What if Vision wears a Hawaiian? What if Vision wears a Hawaiian shirt, like Wilson Fisk did in Echo? Do you think that would help?
If you shoot him in the face, then yes.
Oh no, we've seen much worse happen to poor Viz. And the last word on Vision Quest goes to you, Mr. Connor.
I really hope they lean into the original Vision Quest from the 80s. I want Matthew Modine. I want Linda Ferrantino. I think she was in that. I want Madonna's Crazy for You as the theme. If it gives us one of those 3 things, I'll be happy. And in the absence of those, I loved Paul Bettany as Vision. I think he really kind of was such a great casting choice. And I even without Wanda, because I mean, maybe she'll come back episode 8 at the end, Wanda, and that's the last scene. Just spoiler.
It'll be Jessica Jones.
Right. It'll be Luke Cage and they hug. I think this has real potential. I think, this one last kill aside, like Wonder Man was quite good. I enjoyed Born Again season 2. I am sorry, Mr. London. I know our overseer.
Well, he said it was a 4 out of 10. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But listen, he's going through things. We don't have to talk about it.
No, he's going through anything right now.
No, he's doing great. He's too happy. That's the problem.
As long as he grunts when he goes through it, he'll be fine.
That's true.
Now with 20% more grunts.
Flaming, yeah.
But no, I'm excited for it. I think even the one that really I think surprised me, in a very positive way, was Agatha All Along. That was one that I kind of went in there concerned. A very good friend directed some. I thought she killed it, but I thought that was a show that with each episode really picked up steam and in a way that was kind of a unique sort of departure from what they had done before. So it gives me hope that if they could pull off that, they could pull off Vision Quest. And I am crazy for you, Christian.
Yes, I was going to say, of all the things you thought you might see, a Madonna song in there is the most thing. Something that's the final thing in this part of our conversation on the Marvel movie talk part of it is it's not. I mean, I guess it's kind of news, but Kevin Feige explains that Blade is apparently still happening, and this is the quote that he gave. We didn't want to simply put a leather outfit on Mahershala Ali and have him start killing vampires. Well, then I don't think you understand what the appeal of Blade is, because I think that's all anybody actually wants. Yes, leather, killing vampires. And I mean, I guess to Nate's point, he's a very talented actor, but maybe he shouldn't write it, I guess,
This is old though, right?
Well, this quote was from a while ago, yes, but it started resurfacing
2025 of July.
Yeah. No, but it was like it sort of reemerged because they talked about it. Was basically this quote came up because they were like, oh yeah, it's still happening, and they're like, all right, well, this is the last thing we heard on it.
It is still happening. I don't believe that.
Well, that's why I'm bringing it up, because why are you saying it's still happening? If I mean, because maybe they want it to still happen. Is it that, Nate? They wish they were still making a Blade movie, or they just figure like, okay, we'll say it, and boy, nobody's asked for a few years, so maybe they'll stop asking.
Maybe it's to get people to stop asking, or maybe it's to check a box or something. Maybe there's some contract that they're stringing it along. I mean, especially with what we've seen them do with Deadpool, and also, you know, this, for better or worse. Like it seems like all of the pieces are there to make an excellent Blade film. Like, you really don't need to overthink it. Just put him in a leather vest and let it be rated R, and let him kill vampires. Like, that's all that people really want to see. It doesn't really have to be deeper than that.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, go ahead.
When they started talking about making this movie, Wesley Snipes was about 58, 59. He's 63 now. And they said he was too old. Mahershala Ali is now 52 and will be around 55 if they ever make it. So he's going to be around the same age, close to how when Wesley Snipes was too old to be Blade.
So, I have a thought. I know how they're going to handle this. I don't know if I'm sure Katie and I often talk about Steven Seagal.
All the time.
I mean, that's our love language.
Huge Seagal I had, yeah.
Yeah. And when he his most recent action films, he I enjoy watching it because I feel fit when I look at him on the screen. And also, I really like what he does with his action scenes now, which I think they're going to do in Blade. He sits down a lot. So even when he's fighting, he's kind of reclining and does a lot of this, but he's kind of sitting. And I think I hope he still has all his original hips and knees by the time they film this. I mean, I think they're doing the Dick Tracy thing that Warren Beatty does. I know you've talked about this, Christian. The way he's kept the rights alive. He shows up in, I don't know, random talk shows, you know, and Dick Cavett shows and whatnot in character in the yellow jacket. I think that's what they're doing with this. They're just finding ways to keep the rights going until he's in the ripe old age of 87, and then he'll finally make Blade, and it'll be awesome anyway.
I think you pretty much nailed it. That's what we should be getting. Yeah, and that was the reason why I was like, I wanted to basically see if anybody thinks Blade's actually happening. So, Brody, don't buy your tickets to Blade just yet, I think is what we're saying.
I got to cancel them. Hold on.
All right. I'm sorry.
May we live long enough to see it.
I bought them on
the day.
I bought them on Fandango. Pun.
You can hear. You can hear that it's the one that doesn't ding. Yeah, that's what you get for that. Well, in terms of things that don't ding, Brody, where can people find more of you? Yeah, we laughed.
Find me on the Pun Fest known as the Brooklyn Boys podcast, wherever you get your podcasts, and on social media for our visual audience right there on the screen at David Brody. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Eric, where can people find you having a guy who looks like Sugar Ray steal your dog from you?
Yeah, me and my very alive dogs can be found over at Cat Eric Connor. Also, you can find me all over Geekscape, oftentimes in the shadows of Christian Bladt. I'm sort of the Karen to his Christian. I kind of show up, and maybe I'm there, maybe I'm not there, but he hugs me anyway.
I do love that your dog hadn't barked anywhere near as much as just now, when your dog doesn't want you to plug anything, is what I think that entails. And Katie, there's no shortage of places you can be found here at Geekscape, but please let everybody know where are all the places.
You can always find me at ElSassyPants, ElSassysYPants, right there for those of the visual audience. And yeah, I'm all over Geekscape Network, and you can see me on the Geekscape News, and Christian Cringe Tutorial Guild coming back on the 31st, and yeah, all sorts of plays, napping through happy hour. I don't know, there's podcasts. Find me. Time to go to bed. You'll find me sleeping.
Well, listen, that's a stream in and of itself. Just taking a nap. And,
we were talking about Patreon, so whatever for the network.
Yeah. And Nate, where do you want to be found, or do you not want to be found?
I'm on the internet. You can find me on the places where you find people on the internet. Dogleg Nate with 2 G's. I don't know, man. This bummed me out. I don't know why I thought this was going to be like really good, and it was not. So
Nate,
if you want to talk about it on the internet, we can do that.
Nate, Would this make it better if I invited you to a private screening of Spider Noir on May 19th?
Maybe we can talk
Okay.
about that.
All right. Cool.
I'll take a
Marvel movie
consolation prize.
talk.
Yeah, that'll be fun. And yeah, I mean,
Christian, I'm going to invite you to a private screening of Mannequin 2 on the Move.
well, I appreciate that actually, because we all know that's the good one. That's the good installment of
The real one.
Yeah, I think they have the same. Don't they have the same song from Starship in that one? They may or may not. Anyway, wait, who didn't? Oh, everybody got to do plugs. I just wanted to make sure. I'm like, wait, I forgot somebody. Oh yeah, me.
Yourself. Where can we find you, Christian?
Well, I'm glad you asked, because there are a lot of places I can be found. I can be found, here, all across Geekscape. Our live audience will momentarily see Eric, Connor, and myself discuss the aforementioned Punisher Born by Garth Ennis, and is unlike anything we've ever read for the Geekscape Book Club. And of course, I have my personal podcast, the Blatt. And listen, if you want to be able to find me in person, this weekend is the time to do it. You head out to Ontario, California. You have to specify. You can't just say Ontario, CA, because then people are thinking it's the other one. Ontario, California, site of Comic-Con Revolution, where there will be a number of panels that I am on, but featuring our friend Christina the Wisecracking Blonde and the Grand Poobah of Geekscape, Jonathan London, on Saturday at 1:30. They will be doing a little Beverly Hills 90210 reunion with your Jenny Garth, Brian Austin Green, Ian Ziering, and Gabrielle Carteris. And I would want to talk to Ian Ziering about Sharknado, so it's good that I will be, tied up at that time, because I won't have the time. And the panel that I pitched will be the Mutant Massacre at 40 with Chris Claremont and John Romita Jr. Very excited about that. And somewhere in here, you'll see Jonathan's doing the Death of Superman. He's doing something with Timothy Zahn about Star Wars novels. And I'm talking to both Rick and Morty, not Marty, and a Marvelverse DC. But the one that I really want to promote is somewhere in here. There it is. Diallo and I will be doing a Battlestar Galactica panel with Edward James Olmos, James Callis, Tricia Helfer, Mary McDonald, Grace Park, and Katie Sackhoff. So please, ComicConRevolution.com in beautiful Ontario, California. It's an hour from LA, depending on when you leave. But some of the casinos will say that it's only an hour and 15 minutes from LA, but that's usually if you go at 2 a.m. But anyway, that's where I can be found. And I appreciate everybody who's going to head on out there, and it'll be great to see Christina and Jonathan talk 90210. And you can send us your questions. And yes, Daniel Drew, you're right about this. Timothy Zahn will sign books for free as long as you let him inscribe it to you. Like, if you just sign it, you have to pay for it, because then he thinks you might resell it. But I just had him sign them all to me, so I appreciate that. And if Kame Egan says this, she's going to get the last word. Great show and entertaining as always. That sounds like us, doesn't it, Katie?
It does. It sounds like we went probably the same length of this show twice, and we're more entertaining or less. You tell us.
I think the CGI was a lot better in our show, Nate, than in Daredevil One Last Kill. I think that's probably something we can all agree upon. We will be back in some configuration in the weeks ahead as we talk about Spider-Man Noir. I don't know how it's all going to work out, but, just like and subscribe. Wherever you're hearing or watching this right now, that's the place you subscribe so that you'll know when we have a new video or audio episode. Anyway, I want to thank and bid adieu to David Brody, and thank and bid adieu to Dog Like Nate Miller. And soon there will be only two.
Not Katie.
No, Katie is also, it's time.
Let me go to bed.
It's time for bed. Good night.
Go
Katie.
read your books. Good night.
Good night, John Boy.
Vita's in.
And then there were only two of us left here as we talk about Garth Ennis's Daredevil. Nope. Punisher Born. We're talking about Daredevil for like
Wait,
2
wait,
months.
hold on. I got the other glasses here if we want to go there.
No.
At the ready.
This one doesn't require any glasses, I don't think.
Oh, okay.
You know? So that's what we're going to talk about. And I hope people have read all of that. And before we dive into it, Daniel, I didn't see your update on Blade. So now I have to. Okay. Marvel Studios was instead looking to include the character in a Midnight Suns film for which they were searching for a writer. Okay. And in 2026, a solo Blade film was considered dead, but I don't know. We'll see. But thank you to Daniel Drew for that. So, are you ready? Because
lots of laughs.
We've had so many laughs. We kind of actually unexpectedly had laughs as we talked about One Last Kill, but they weren't intentional, you know.
Well, I mean, we had fun, and I hopefully our viewer had fun. But One Last Kill is a different kind of beast, and I mean, weirdly enough, like I don't know what order you went with this. I watched One Last Kill, then I read Punisher Born.
Same actually. Yes, I did the same thing as you. Yeah,
and I'm a little confused that they said this was the base or this was the inspiration. Is that what they were saying for One Last Kill? 'Cause I'm not seeing it.
Here's the thing. So Punisher Born is kind of the think of the 4 issues as like issue 0, because this is, for anyone who read this, you will understand that this is under the Max imprint, where it was intentionally explicit content, as it says on the cover. It was adult content. There were words that I had never seen in a comic book alongside other words that I had also never seen in a comic book. Things that I had never seen happen in a comic book. So there's a Garth Ennis run of a Punisher series that is Marvel Max. I think that is probably what the inspiration is. This is kind of just the beginning. It's the hard reset. It is the Punisher origin story, basically. So, and listen, this era of Frank Castle's life has been covered before.
Mm-hmm.
There was an ongoing Marvel series about Vietnam called The Nam, if you remember that, Eric, because you, like me, are not a young pup. What I'm saying is you're also old. And I don't know if you remember that book, the Nam. And
I did not read it, actually.
There were issues where, it was very well, it was a bestseller at first. And then to reinvigorate, they did a flashback story about Frank Castle. So not this specific story, but we had actually gotten to know Frank as a soldier. We'd gotten to know him from his time in uniform. And we get to see more of that in Punisher Born. And it, as with so many times when I read comics from the 21st century, it makes me long for comics from the 80s and 90s. And this was no different. I think that there are a lot of things we can say about this book sort of working very well on the level that it's at and what it set out to do. What I will say about Punisher Born, it was not fun to read, like at all.
Christian, what would Billy Crystal say? I believe you know the quote.
That it's better to look good than to feel good.
That is one of them. Not the one I was looking for, but it is a very true fact of life. It's as he once said to the legendary podcast host Stuttering John, it's not fun. It's not funny.
Yeah,
It's not fun.
it's true. It's not
It
fun. It's not
it's
funny.
it's brutal. It's effective at times. The ending really got me. I won't go there yet, but
We'll get
I
there. Yeah.
I definitely like put it down afterwards and kind of like it kind of sat with me for a while. And it really did, I mean, it actually reminded me quite a bit of the movie Platoon. It felt
Yes,
like a lot of
absolutely.
the themes and even the plot points felt like this would be if Platoon and Punisher kind of melded, you have this story basically.
Yeah, and listen, when we're getting the narration from, I believe that soldier's name is Goodwin, the other, the guy who's not Frank. As soon as he says that he gets to go home in, what is it, 29 days?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I've seen this movie. I've seen this. Yeah, I've read this story before. He's not going to make it, And here's the spoiler for a book from 2002. He doesn't get to go home.
Oh, you mean he wasn't on a plane with beautiful stewardesses,
Oh.
beautiful buxom stewardesses? Because that's our path to heaven.
From your mouth to Frank Castle's ear. And listen, I think it's been said before. It can be said again. War is hell. And they sure made sure that they made certain that we knew about that. That war was, war's bad. I'm sorry to bring all these hot takes to people tonight here.
If you had any doubt already, I think this seals it, right? I mean, I now feel like Norm Macdonald. It wasn't until I read this I realized war is sort of taxing on the soul, and it kind of I don't know what it's good for because just seems like a lot of killing.
Well, I have heard it said that war, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Say it again.
War.
Good God, y'all. Thank you. See, it's like we did it in rehearsal. So
what's wrong with feeling?
Let's talk a little bit about Punisher Born in the sense of, he really becomes the Punisher. In fact, he talks about someone who needed punishing. It's like The Simpsons. Bart, say the line. Say the line, Frank. And he's like, I just thought they needed to be punished. Oh my gosh. So, and if you hand him the right piece of artillery, he can take out 50 people. I'm like, oh, okay. So what are your thoughts as you start reading the first issue of Punisher Born?
I think way long ago when the Marvel movie talk Geekscape Book Club first began, when it was young, one of the things I remember you were saying was like kind of a chance for us to kind of explore titles we hadn't read that somehow in our collective years, and Christian admittedly has read more comics in his day than I have, because I was out chasing more ladies, not successfully, mind you, just chasing.
No, I actually caught them, so I was able to still read comics a little bit. Yeah.
Right. No, I was very winded easily. A lot of hills in Delaware, and I realized how little Punisher I think I've read over the years. I think I would read him more when he would pop in somewhere else. This cover alone, for our radio audience, it's a soldier, and again the helmet looks like period Vietnam, maybe even a Korea War helmet, and half of it is gone, and we see a skull underneath half a face, and it is terrifying. Just the image alone of the cover of Punisher Born got me, and really the storytelling here is you're watching a man who already has a very tenuous hold of his soul, and he loses it even more as it goes. And then we know, it's knowing where the story goes, what happens to his wife, his children. It actually, I mean, it's pretty brutal, and almost implies that maybe he made a deal with the devil to get out of Vietnam, but what the devil collected, of course, was really his soul, his family.
Yeah, and I mean, in no uncertain terms, says that in issue 4. And I was like, oh, I didn't realize we were going there. I kind of prefer the non-metaphysical, the non mysticism. I think the idea that he was a broken man in Vietnam when he came home, had some time with his family, and then wrong place, wrong time. They get taken out in Central Park, not because they were targeted. I feel like the best version of the Punisher's backstory is the first one we got. The recently passed Jerry Conway introducing the character in Amazing Spider-Man 129. And, we certainly got to know him in the years after that. And we certainly had our opportunities to get to know Frank on his own, in some of those, some of the solo books that he had. We would see him on screen occasionally now and again. I mean, I think that there was plenty of time to get to spend with Frank, but this time period before he's the Punisher, really before he's in the Marvel universe. Yes, he's on the same planet. It's just earlier in the timeline. But the idea that this is that guy, we see it. You can see how he becomes the Frank that we know. It's just so horrible to read, and I don't mean that this is badly written by any means. No, this is an explicit adult content book, and if you're going to show how terrible it was to spend time in Vietnam, this was his 3rd tour, he said. And it does break him in the end, and he says he's not going back, but he's already made his deal by then. So there's no real levity in these 4 issues, Eric.
You're looking for laughs, look elsewhere. Pick up a copy of Spider-Ham, the Peter Porker, the Spectacular Spider-Ham.
I do love Peter Porker, the Spectacular Spider-Ham, by the way.
We should do that in book club one of these times.
You know what? We should have done it this week, so we could have had a little little mixture. Yeah.
A little bit of pork makes the medicine go down, as they say. Not if you're kosher, I suppose.
No, but that's the one of the deleted songs from Mary Poppins.
And of course, the dogs hop in on this.
But you said pork, so they're like
but I thought my dogs were kosher. Maybe not. But I think also too, like, one thing that's really fascinating here is that notion of a code. So yeah, he kills a fair amount of people, but then there are some people in his own platoon he kills. But every time you kind of get it. You get why he's doing it. They set up the people he takes out for the most part as maybe worthy of being deoxygenized. However, there is one guy there who I don't think warranted the murder that happened at Frank's hands. This is in, I believe, issue 1, when his superiors coming to really shut their base down. And he's like, hey, before you leave, why don't we check this one hill? You'll love it. It's a great view. And Frank's covering a sign that says, warning, sniper present all day, all night. And so the guy goes on the hill and he's dead. And you didn't get that sense that the other people who he killed or allowed to die, you got the sense probably it was warranted. I'm not sure about this guy.
No, I mean, for his way in which, his rationale that he needed to stay in,
right.
I believe they call it the shit that he needed to stay in. He wanted to still be there. He wanted to be doing this. He felt like this is what he was destined to do. This is what he's good at, all of that. So he didn't want that to go away. So I think that's his rationale. But no, I don't think there's someone in the middle of this series that he takes out that I was like, yeah, all right, that's a cause and effect. I feel like
Sure.
he made an incredibly poor choice, and having to pay for it made sense. But I did love this image, which our visual audience is looking at. He's the superior officers. Well, what is it? What the fuck am I supposed to be looking at out here? Danger. Sniper at work. Dawn to dusk.
Though I will say, you know, I and my wife and I both oftentimes focus on signage when we go to events.
Sure.
Feels like if there's that risk factor of I don't know, round the clock snipering, I might put more than one little sign. I might make it really apparent. Maybe put up what is that line in Vacation? When they close the road, they put up a big sign like this one.
Yeah.
Kind of needed a bigger sign, I would argue.
A neon, a blinking light like our friend Nate Miller has with his username.
Maybe
I think
a stop sign. I know we're in a different country, but there's a few ways I think. And again, I might be overthinking, and I try to make sure people on my watch survive. Apparently, they're a little more lax at this base, or maybe they ran out of funds.
Yes, no, that's entirely possible. I almost shared an image that you sent that even though it's a drawing, it had a nude woman on it. So I had to zoom in on what you had sent. There was
I meant to. Oh shoot! I meant to blur out the good parts.
Yeah. No, I know. There was and that's not something that happens a little later. This is just like a poster that was hanging up. I was like literally about to share it, and I was like, wait a minute, I gotta zoom in a little bit. I mean, I feel like, listen, this guy, I believe, is consistent with being the same Frank. It gets confusing, the sort of sliding timeline that they use for Marvel, because so many years have passed since Frank was introduced. But at the time the character's introduced, it was like right after Vietnam, and it's all that, it all adds up, it all makes sense. But I do believe that this guy is the same Frank Castle. Our friend Daniel Drew is here in the chat, and he actually has an addendum to something that he said during Marvel Movie Talk. The run that One Last Kill is supposedly inspired by is The Punisher from 2000, which is the same run that the 2004 Punisher movie was based on. Daniel had just read through the plot on Wiki, and it's basically that movie, the One Last Kill. So it's loosely based on that 12-issue run, also written by Garth Ennis. So yeah, I mean, this is very clearly, a prequel style story where it's like, hey, remember Vietnam? Yeah, I remember. So that's what we do. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm thinking of Howard Stern's various stories of what he went through in Vietnam. Of course, he wasn't there. He was at Boston University.
No, but he would always talk
years
about
later.
The way that he would pretend that he had service, that he had served in Vietnam. I actually hadn't thought about that. He was clearly in Frank's platoon, because that's what Howard was up to, at least by his own account. So yeah, there's really only one likable character in this story, and it is not Frank Castle. I think that kind of, I don't know. I'm not telling tales out of school. Am I, Eric?
Big spoiler alert: Punisher punishes a lot and is morally questionable, if not reprehensible. So yes, he is not the hero I'm looking to model my own life after.
Yeah, but he's the only one who's left, and there is someone who our visual audience is seeing the aftermath of a guy that Frank basically puts in the drink, as we can say. So he just holds his head underwater, and then that guy's no longer with us.
He's earned it. We can't really speak of what he tried to do, but it was a bad
no
thing.
But on YouTube we call that there's a scene that has what they abbreviate as SA. And it was a local It was a Vietnamese woman, and this gentleman felt like he was afforded certain liberties, and Frank disagrees. Frank says, no, that's not what we do. We kill the enemy because that's what Frank is there for. And, Goodwin's making the point. He's like, this guy, as in Frank, do I need to say unalived that woman? Gosh, YouTube is terrible. So he basically puts this woman out of her misery because what this guy would have done would have been worse. So her being dead is better than being alive in the hands of this guy who he had to then. Do I need to say that he got sent to Greenland? I mean, it's so hard to talk like a grown-up on YouTube, isn't it?
And I think it's safe to say his moral code is a little gray at best.
Yeah.
That might be the brightest color we could throw at it.
Yeah.
The one scene where he helped that gentleman, we'll just say, get a longer drink by stepping on the back of his head. It's witnessed by the narrator of the story. And again, harkening back to the movie Platoon, thinking about, like, ironically, when Charlie Sheen could still play an innocent, which he was in that film, with two different role models, Willem Dafoe's character and Tom Berenger. And
two men that we should both look up to, by the way, especially Tom Berenger.
Right. And also, by the way, the idea of Willem Dafoe being the voice of conscience and kindness and humanity. It's the casting. But the most basic thing is Platoon, the movie works still, and the casting actually is dead on somehow.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yes, I agree.
Because Tom Berenger really is a badass in that. But sure. Here, I think that moment was actually kind of powerful too, because the narrator suddenly is like, all right, like in some ways he was kind of looking up to Frank, and in that moment he sees what Frank really is, and that he wasn't going to say anything. He had more than one opportunity, but he understood why Frank did it. He isn't about to rat on Frank, and yet at the same time realizes, like, well, I killed him too because I was there, right? He doesn't straight up say that, but he's complicit because he allowed this to happen. He could anytime could have jumped in there, but didn't. So he's getting a taste of what it means to be Frank.
And let me be frank, as Frank Underwood once said repeatedly, or are we not allowed to quote him? He's a fictional character, so I feel like I can, right? It's hard to say. I think that there is a very clear statement that this story makes, and I did boil it down to War is Hell. Goodwin at one point is, having the thought, and he asks, why can't we stay out of the rest of the world? And this story is from 24 years ago, and
not relevant at all to 24
I was going to say, this was written in 24 years ago, but it's set like 55 years ago. And I would say there's never been a minute that since whatever this is, 1970. This is 1972, maybe. It's right. Like close to the end
of Vietnam.
By the way, it's close to the end of Vietnam, but not as close as these guys thought it was. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was like, oh, there's some more left. There was an image that you didn't pull where I think that there were young Vietnamese children licking Agent Orange off of their arms.
I thought we were okay not to have that.
No, I didn't need to show it, but I was just like, talk about setting the tone for what we're about to get. This is one of those ones where, again, this isn't a bad story. This is unlike anything we've read on the Geekscape Book Club before.
Yeah.
And I stand by this. I hope it's unlike anything that we ever read again. But if we read more Garth Ennis Punisher, then we probably will feel some similarities. But again, this is not a bad series. The illustrations are great.
Terrific.
I've never been happier that this happens in only about 100 pages, that there were only 4 issues. If this had been 6, I might have had to write to you, be like, are we reading all these or what are we doing?
I mean, I've never tried heroin or opium, but I might have considered
Oh,
a
well, I
life
mean,
change if it was 6 issues. At
I
4, I was okay.
I do think that this book might be, an advertisement for trying some opiates. It doesn't work out for the character involved, but maybe you're the one to
What's
beat the
going
odds.
on with him? I had a question there because
Okay.
I read that part twice where there is a character who's chasing that dragon, as a term I know Christian is very familiar with.
Yeah, although to be
Literally.
fair, I usually chase Imagine Dragons
Yeah, right. That's his dragon of choice.
and Pete's dragon.
or Bruce Lee, the dragon story. Dragon, the Bruce Lee story. Sorry,
Yes, of
put
course.
the colon in the wrong place, as I often do.
Same.
The question here I had was like, what were they doing to the drug addict? Because it seemed like they were keeping him. Were they sleeping with him? Were they having their way? I was a little confused. Like,
I think that
was.
as max and adult content as it was, 2002 was not a point where I think that they were going to indulge that specific aspect.
Okay.
So it's left ambiguous. And I'm not sure on the answers to that. I think that they, were keeping him addicted, and you kind of pass out when it happens. But yes, it did seem like the one soldier would take advantage of him in that state, and that's not our guy Goodwin, who was just looking out for his best interests. But multiple words that I don't know this is certainly a book not approved by the Comics Code Authority because of just some of the language. And multiple words are used to describe this gentleman who had a problem with substance abuse.
Yeah.
And I was very uncomfortable by some of those words that were on the page, Eric.
They were bullying him due to his skin color and maybe his sexual leanings in ways that we here at Geekscape are not okay with. We believe all people should be accepted despite their differences.
Yeah.
And that is what we stand by. So yes, these gentlemen, I believe Punisher also killed them though. So
yeah,
one of them at least. So, it goes around, comes around. So they did face justice for their whatever they may have done, which is still a little bit questionable. I'm glad they showed a little bit of restraint because they didn't show much restraint anywhere else in that story.
No, yeah. There's the digital edition I read. There were some comments from both the artist and from Garth Ennis. We heard from both of them, and this is a very graphic story, but there was a level in which they did not actually want to be quite as explicit as perhaps they could have been. Darick Robertson, the illustrator of this, I believe he's more the pencils, and Tom Palmer, who worked in comics forever. I mean, Tom Palmer did inks in Marvel's Star Wars comic book and in the Avengers, and he's working on this. He's an excellent finisher, as they say, when somebody takes the breakdowns of the penciler and finish it. So the visual, the ability of that, but the SA incident in the middle of the series is really kind of the tone shift. It's like talk about films set during war. It's like the midpoint of Full Metal Jacket when Private Pyle takes matters into his own hands. He unalives himself. Is a different movie after that. You need the tone shift, and that kind of is the moment of like, oh, these are all bad people. Frank isn't bad in the same way as all of them. And Goodwin is just trying to survive. Not necessarily a good person, but it's said multiple times from superior officer, don't rock the boat. And boy, nobody wants to rock this boat. Frank doesn't really want to rock the boat. He wants like, well, can we just keep the boat afloat? And I'll take care of all the killing, What do you think about all that, Eric?
He didn't want to go home. Right. It's a notion of like, this is his home. He's sadly never more alive than when he's unaliving others. And he's trying to find ways to keep the space open, even though everyone's kind of like, yeah, we're not going to send you any more resources. Like, this place is woefully underfunded and underprepared and a mess. And in essence, the reason he had that one superior officer killed is because he didn't want to leave. And that, you mentioned films, and sorry that we're sort of jumping in, but I guess it's also movies that sort of dealt with Vietnam. In the 1980s, there was just a plethora. Not a movie not a word I throw around very much, plethora. No. But there was a bevy of Vietnam themed movies, and Platoon you mentioned Full Metal Jacket. Also, one that I actually am a fan of that never quite got the attention it deserved, I thought, was Casualties of War with Michael J. Fox and Sean Penn, which had a very similar thing happen about halfway through that film, where Sean Penn basically essays a local. And again, the whole second half is then about Michael J. Fox's character who witnessed this and what he's going to say. And he's again, the proverbial sort of innocent, especially Michael J. Fox, who we all know as, Teen Wolf, the most innocent character we've ever had on screen. And maybe that guy, Marty McFly, was okay too.
Alex P. Keaton, sure.
Yeah, and Goodwin here is that, like, right?
Yeah. He's our Alex P. Keaton, yes.
Yeah. He stays out of the fray until he can't. And then he welcomes the fray.
And by the way, Casualties of War was the starting point for David Spade's impression of Michael J. Fox, because it was Sarge, and then he goes into a whole thing, and then he would go, Mallory. So like that was like the bookend of it. And obviously I'm talking about an impression he was doing in I think 1990. Maybe it was 1991. So obviously
I may have seen him. I saw him do stand-up in 89.
Yeah.
In San Diego, of all places, opening for the great Bobcat Goldthwait. So I got to see uncut David Spade back when he was still just that kid from Police Academy 3.
Police Academy 4, Citizens on Patrol. But I do appreciate that. And I'm sorry, it's I know we've gotten off topic, but
not at all.
As we talk about the Young Comedian special that David Spade was on, also Fred Stoller, Drake Sather, who was mostly known as a writer, but is brilliant for people who know him, Rob Schneider, hosted by Dennis Miller. You want to talk about just a moment, and Dennis did less time so that they could fit Spade in, because he knew how we saw it. He got Lauren to hire Adam Sandler. And so why am I talking about SNL trivia? Because man, it's so much more fun than talking about The Punisher Born. And I don't know, I've said multiple times that this is not a bad story, but let me flip this over to you. Is it?
Yes.
Is this a bad story?
No, I didn't think so. I mean, I think it goes at a very different sort of pace. Like, and I think even the way these 4 issues are put together, it's was it third day, last day, final day, the notion of like time's running out. The last day was the last issue. And it was so tricky. It's similar to The Punisher. Could we call it a movie when it's like 7 minutes long?
Special presentation. Yes.
Yes. It's hard to find images. It was a little tricky here. This one's pretty nasty when you look at it close. It also, by the way, shows you the artistry of the work here. Like it is the use of color. And this is, from a digital copy. I know in the 2000s, it sort of translates better to digital.
Yeah, because it was on that glossy paper by that point.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the older comics that we see digitally. It's nothing like what they looked like in the 4-color newsprint, but this is probably a fairly accurate representation of what it looked like. And again, it is not badly written. I just didn't want to put words in your mouth. It is certainly not badly illustrated. I just kind of wanted to look away sometimes, but we do have our minutes, our moments for Stevie Goodwin, where he does think, as you alluded to earlier, I believe I believe Austin Powers called them sexy stews.
Yeah,
The,
TWA was
TWA.
known for them.
Yes.
Spirit Airlines, not so much.
Not so much, but instead, in reality, there's the last man standing, who I thought was Tim Allen, but nope, it's Frank Castle. And I mean, just look at that mayhem around him. It's
I don't know if you can zoom in too. Like his eyes are actually found kind of haunting. You know, he's just like, looks dead.
That's as much zoom as there is, but
yeah. And the cloud behind him, I didn't even notice that actually.
It has the Punisher symbol right behind him. Yeah. So listen, I appreciate everybody who watches the video versions, everybody who checks out the audio version. If you haven't read this story, it's okay. What you should check out is the 1985 5-issue limited series of The Punisher that is drawn by the great Mike Zeck and written by Stephen Grant. And this really is what led to just the explosion of Punisher, pun intended, I suppose, the explosion of Punisher material that we got throughout the 80s. We got the monthly book just called The Punisher. Then we got Punisher War Journal. And then we got the one true Punisher film with the great Dolph Lundgren as the Punisher.
And you might recall, young Christian, that I actually got to see the LA premiere of this not that many years ago. Because it never got released theatrically here, but
not in the U.S. But as I always point out, my
Japan,
buddy
right?
who grew up in Japan did see it in the theater, so he saw it months before I did, and I was so jealous. And then I rented it, and I was like, it's all right, it's okay that he saw it, yeah, it's fine.
And then you said, "I saw it, it sucks," and you suck because you saw it before me, and you knew
yeah, well, that's it.
But they had the director, Mark Goldblatt, I think his name is, who's mostly known as an editor. And so for him, it was actually it was nice that he didn't ever really get a premiere, so I think for him, it was actually cool. And it was like fans, it's kind of like, it's not a perfect film, but it was a theater filled with Dolph Lundgren, aficionados. So I think it was like playing to the home crowd.
Listen, for my personal podcast, The Blackcast, you and I talked about the sort of extended version of the 1990 Captain America movie with Matt Salinger was that gentleman's name. It took me a moment, but I've got it now. And if we can watch that, there's space for everything, Anyway, so I think there are so many great Punisher stories that will not make you feel like this one does. But I don't know. I mean, I think that's an okay thing to say, and again, I think that there is clearly an audience for this, and it is well done. If that's the kind of content, I think we've couched it exactly the way we need to. So if you're looking for max level content, then this could be your story. I'm intrigued about Garth Ennis's sort of modern, at the time that he wrote it, the actual Punisher stories that he did in the Marvel universe. But I don't know. I don't need to see that many bare bottoms of gentlemen and things like that,
Fair amount of what we know as body meat. I thought maybe a little more than I could use on a typical Wednesday night, but I could say I had a beat I could dance to it. It did not, but it had a tone that it definitely nailed, and one that it doesn't pull a punch. It wasn't afraid to sort of go there, and really that last issue where you realize okay, this is how he survives.
Yeah,
I agree. I don't necessarily need my Punisher hanging out with Mephisto, but it worked. I mean,
it totally worked. Yeah.
Images of his family knowing that, hold them while you can. It's like, oh,
yeah,
That, especially
rough.
as a slightly older man now, that hits different.
Yeah, if I had read this in 2002, I probably would have laughed a few times. But now,
young buck Christian,
oh
banging cocktail waitresses 2 at a time. Yeah, no, it was a different Christian.
2 at a time. Come on.
Well, over the course of a couple of years, I suppose.
No. I was implying that I would have 4 at a time. So anyway, in terms of keeping topics light and breezy, the focus of the Geekscape Book Club is sort of twofold for our next installment. For those of you in Southern California, I would invite you to Comic-Con Revolution in beautiful Ontario, California. Go to comicconrevolution.com for tickets. You can see that this image was shared by both our friend Christina the Wise Cracking Blonde and my friend Cardiff Electric, who is indeed a potato. And I will be talking about the 40th anniversary of the Mutant Massacre with Chris Claremont, who I have interviewed a number of times, including on this show, and John Romita Jr., who did not draw the image that you see behind me for our visual audience. He drew the issue, the cover of the issue before. But so that'll be this Sunday, May 17th at noon. Please head out for what I think is my favorite con every year, because it has so many tables and booths of actual comic books that we can go and buy. And I do. And I will. So check that out. And I think we'll do that sort of as a supplemental to you and I should actually dive in and read these Mutant Massacre comics from that era. We'll talk about that. And then, we'll really get to unwind in June with Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow about why she's so broken inside and how she drinks because she can, because unlike Clark, she remembers Krypton. She knew what it was like, and she saw it get destroyed. He was just a baby. He didn't see any of it. So, we're really having some fun now here on the Geekscape Book Club, aren't we, Eric?
Oh yeah, no, it's everyone's got their blue period, so this is ours. Going from one ray of sunshine to another, I suppose. Although I imagine Supergirl Girl of Tomorrow or is it Girl or Woman of Tomorrow?
Woman. Yeah, so it's confusing because she's Supergirl, but she's a Woman of Tomorrow. Yeah,
Supergirl, you'll be a Woman of Tomorrow soon, I think was the full
by Urge Overkill.
Yeah. And I imagine it'll go down. I don't think there'll be as many essay mentions in Supergirl. At least I hope not.
Gosh, I hope not.
Not as much headshots, not as much flaming bodies, I imagine. So it could only be.
But to be fair, we haven't read it, so we don't know.
That's true. Yeah. The opening scene is actually Crypto getting filleted.
Oh, poor Crypto.
Much to the chagrin of my dogs.
Oh,
I assume Crypto's going to make it through that movie, or else I'm going to burn the theater down.
I mean, it's it wouldn't be a good year for dogs after Punisher One Last Kill. So let's hope that we don't get anything like that. Well, obviously, we are here every month on the Geekscape Book Club, and you'll be able to find Eric and I more regularly at Marvel Movie Talk, where in the very near future we are going to begin covering Spider-Man Noir, and you can check the recent back catalog for Punisher One Last Kill, Daredevil Born Again Season 2, and we did also talk about Wonder Man, and that was a lot more fun than Punisher One Last Kill and Punisher Born. But where are some other places you can be found, Eric?
You can find me at Count Eric Connor, E-R-I-C. I don't even know how to spell my own name at this point. C-O-N-N-E-R over on InstaX, and float around various parts of the Geekscape universe doing, I would like to say doing God's work. But we
you were involved in the Boys after show. Is that season over at this point, or is it still going?
2 more episodes, and I will even be seeing that last episode, 4DX. So assuming my vertebrae can handle the shock of the constant movement, I will also hopefully still pain-free enough to do the wrap-up of that season. But yes, episode 7, I believe, is going to be on tomorrow's Geekscape overview.
Well, and obviously, I can be found this show, Marvel Movie Talk, my personal podcast, The Blattcast, BLADTCAST. And if you are the target demo for Punisher One Last Kill and you enjoy songs like Danzig Mother, check out the show that I produce and occasionally an on-air contributor to, 100 Songs That Define Heavy Metal, hosted by Metal Blade Records CEO Brian Slagle. And of course, Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. Who are these broadcasters on the Who Are These Podcasts YouTube channel? We did a very lengthy salute to the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, after back-to-back sweeps of the Flyers and the Sixers. And we did have some other stuff. Elmo was in the booth at a Phillies game. So, and then Blippy was in the studio in the Fox Morning Show there in Philly. There's a lot of Philly, actually. So check that out. Don't let that deter you from Who Are These Broadcasters. In any case,
Elmo say I eat horse poop now out of sadness instead of joy.
Yeah, well, that's true. He used to do it out of joy. So, yeah, we will be back to talk Mutant Massacre in the near future and Supergirl after that. So, just going to show you that here at the Geekscape Book Club, as we always say, as long as they keep writing them, we'll keep reading them. We'll see you next time, everybody.
Go Sixers.